We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. It is Tuesday, and we're also doing a TikTok live. It seemed appropriate given all the shit that's going on. Some very interesting things were going on. We've been talking about these LA situation. I don't want to say they're riots because they're really not riots. They're protests. They're pretty peaceful. There's not a lot going on. Still, Donald Trump sends the National Guard, and now he wants to send the Marines in there. Donald Trump's trying to create a mess that doesn't exist, and that's part and parcel to what Donald Trump does. He creates problems, and then he tries to fix it, but inevitably he will fuck it up. That's what he does. But the thing about it is that in this particular situation, we had kind of a personal touch to this because I was contacted by Old Soul, who's a good friend to the Rational Boomer podcast. If you don't know her, you should find out more about her. She's a young African-American woman who's quite an activist, is all about helping people, and is always in the mix when something's going on. And as I would say, luck has it, unfortunate situation has it, she was in Los Angeles just a couple of days ago, and she was doing stuff to help. She's not an immigrant. She was born and raised here. She does happen to be a woman of color, so that is a problem when it comes to the white supremacist that is Donald Trump. But she was detained. Apparently she was someplace where there was a curfew, and they detained her. And the fact of the matter is that they put her into an ICE unit. I don't know that she was taken in by ICE, but she stayed and was detained in the ICE unit, the main ICE unit there in Los Angeles. She was there for a couple of days, and I'd been hearing from her brother, and we're all trying to keep track of what's going on. She had a lawyer that was passing along information. And I can tell you right now, she is out. She is out. Her brother told me she's out, and she just texted me a couple of minutes before I came on here. So I said, what you do is you get in a fucking car and you come home, and you stay home for a while, okay? You just stay home for a little fucking while. And I'm going to get her on. I told her if she wants to pop into the live, by all means, you can do that. But I have a feeling she's going to be on the road, so that probably won't happen. But when she gets back and gets settled, I'm going to have her on, and we'll talk to her about her experiences while she was a detainee for no fucking good reason. Let's be honest. All right, I'm going to bring in TJ the plumber. He is one of our moderators. He's also somebody who sits on the panel, somebody who has a similar mind and a similar disposition as I do. Tends to get a little riled up about things now and again. TJ, welcome, and it's good to hear that Old Soul is out of the hooskow.
Yeah, I was great to hear that information a little bit earlier today. That's crazy, man. I mean, to be grabbed up off the street with no, lawful reason to be taken as an American citizen, everyone should worry about that, man. That's not good.
Yeah, it's certainly a red flag, and from what Old Soul's brother was telling me, she wasn't the only American that was in detention. She was not the only American, and I'm sure they probably got out too. They were trying to be careful. They didn't want to release them out into the protesters. Not sure why that's a problem. I don't think the protesters have a problem with the people that were detained. But nonetheless, she did get out. She texted me, all is good. And now Old Soul and I have to have a little talk. She's going to have a talk with her brother and probably the rest of the family. And why don't you just settle down a little bit? Why don't you stay home and do what you do and not put yourself in harm's way like this?
Right.
Maybe you're brave and aren't worried about what might happen to you, but you got a lot of people that depend on you, a lot of people that love you, a lot of people that care about you. You got to consider them too, and I think she will.
Especially in a rogue government agency that's doing whatever the fuck they want with no repercussions. So.
Well, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I'm going to pull somebody up here. We haven't heard from a little bit. He sounds like he's sick. He was sick. I was sick too. Let's bring him up here. Jay of the Canadian Path. Now, He's in California too. He's not in Los Angeles. But Jay, are you with us?
Yes, indeed I am.
And it sounds like you were sick for a while?
Yeah, you may have heard me briefly on one of the lives when I got on. I don't know what it was. They say it was a really, really bad bug. It was really close to whooping cough, though.
Wow.
Yeah. I know Will said he wasn't feeling very well on for a couple of days on one of your podcast outings with him. Well, I'm sorry, but I spent 3 straight weeks feeling like I was having Gorilla Glue poured straight into my lungs.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
every morning, the first thing I did was cough so hard that there would be blood in my stomach afterward. I'm sorry,
Wow.
but it was really bad.
That sounds problematic. And I was sick for about a week too, and I had a cold, not quite to that extent, but I still came to work because I'm not a pussy.
and
Excuse, I'm just teasing you, Jay.
and,
Yeah, I
Whooping
know.
cough is a big difference from what I had.
and
Yeah.
and just on that note, by the way, Rebecca sends her regrets. She's laying down. She's not feeling well. So
Okay.
Oh no! Please
Yeah,
tell me she
well-
didn't catch it through the phone.
I think it's Jay's fault, honestly.
Well, you're the one who said I peed in the pool a couple weeks ago.
I forgot
So-
about that.
I feel like a guy who is left out. I don't know anything about this shit. Anyway, Jay, you live in California. You want to get the fuck go to Canada. You've been seeing what's been going on with what's happening in Los Angeles. I know you got some thoughts on it. You're a Gen Zer, so we're anxious to hear what the younger folks think about this.
I mean, okay, I gotta think very carefully about what I say because
No, you don't.
Well, no, I do because I actually chatted with Trevor after this all happened, and if I said even half the stuff that I said in that chat here, this would get taken down.
Okay,
was-
then watch it.
I was livid, and I'm still really angry now. I'm a fucking powder keg. So,
Yeah.
I mean, okay. First of all, we all know what this is. We all
Absolutely.
know it's half, they want to get rid of all the different people because a big part of it is the white nationalists are terrified that with everything they've been doing to minorities, once the minorities become the majority, they're going to hit you back 10 to 100 fold. Your heads are going to go on the chopping block, or they think that's going to happen. That's not going to happen. But if you think it's going to, that means you know what you're doing is bad. You know it's wrong. You know it's hurting people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and this is a big distraction too, and I think, it's a big
Yeah,
distraction
yeah.
from the shit where Donald Trump is failing, and
The
that's why
Epstein
I think
files,
it's
yeah.
important. Well, it's not just that. We as creators need to just pump this into the ether every day. We know that Wall Street thinks he's a big ass chicken.
Yeah,
We
I
know
saw the
that
taco
he-
thing.
We know that according to Elon Musk, he is on the Epstein list. That is why he doesn't want the Epstein list released. This next one isn't really a story, but it is a story because it was so important to Donald Trump with Joe Biden. Donald Trump was going up to Air Force One and slipped about the same spot Joe Biden did. And
I
they
saw
got
that.
close-ups of his face. And it's not a big deal, but it was just killing him. So it's important we bring it out and remind folks that I don't know if he's got drop foot or what the fuck he's got going, but he couldn't make it up the steps.
I saw a meme earlier today where Joe Biden hit a golf ball on the green and then it hits Donald Trump and he falls. And I was just cracking up, man, because it was too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. To an animal lover in the chat who was talking about when are we going to stop it and fight back. When you say fight back, do you mean continue to protest? Because if you watch, okay, a little bit of a tangent here, but if you watch Park Grows Permaculture on YouTube, she's a very, very insightful, very intelligent creator from Oregon. She makes a really, really good point. Violence from us is just going to turn public opinion against us. Peaceful protest and them, cracking down, doing all this stuff, that's going to turn public opinion against this government, this illegal regime that whatever.
Well,
Right,
the
well,
thing about
Jay-
it too is he
Jay-
wants us to do that. He wants it. That's what he wants is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
chaos and the noise, so that he can cover up all the other shit he's doing. So it's really really you have to be very careful of what you do. You got to push back. You got to be strong, but you don't want to buy into the whole fucking ploy that he's got planned.
Yeah, but here's the big problem, Jay, is that there's going to be a lot of people deployed into L.A., white supremacists, the Proud Boys, probably Oath Keepers. All these people are going to go out there to cause problems, to destroy buildings and property and all these things, so they can blame it on the protesters. They're going to organize those people to send them out to cause these problems, just like they did in Minneapolis. That Boogaloo boy, the guy got convicted of burning down the police station. It wasn't the protesters that did it. It was a white supremacist.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
And they're gonna continue to do that.
They will do that. Yeah, absolutely. They've already tried it to a certain extent.
By the way, TJ, I'm sorry. I cannot and will not ever break bread or link arms with former Trump supporters. I will not do it ever.
Because I won't either.
Because let me make this very, very clear. To everyone who sat out November 5th, whether you voted for him or you didn't vote, you're all going to hell. Every single fucking one of you, you're all going to hell. Every single fucking one of you, you're all going to hell.
Well, here's the deal. Anybody who voted for Donald Trump or anybody that sat out because they were pouting about Joe Biden are accessories after the fact to the crimes we are seeing now. I don't care if you don't like that, but that's the fact. And that's how I'm going to treat you. We heard about this representative in California. She was the founder of Latinas for Trump. And now she's crying and saying, we didn't vote for this. And I say, yeah, motherfucker, you did. You voted for this as long as it didn't affect you. So you want to cry because you're a victim now, and maybe you are a victim to a certain extent, but you're also the villain because you intended to inflict that on innocent people who did not vote for Donald Trump. So there is no sympathy, there is no trust for you, and I hope everything goes badly for you.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I wanted to say, really, really important. Whether there's Trumplafucks in the chat. So
I'm working on them.
To the people who said to this PK295 who said illegals have no rights, fuck you. You're a white supremacist. Blocked.
That's not true. Yeah. Let's check somebody else and bring him in. Let's see if he pops up. This is Scott04. Scott, are you there? And what's on your mind?
Oh, I was just listening for the topic, actually. Oh, God.
Oh, okay. You didn't have a question or comment?
No, I was telling you guys are bashing somebody. I didn't hear what you're bashing, though.
What?
I'm not sure what you said. If you don't know the topic, I'm not going to pull you up. You asked to be on, and
all right. Somebody mentioned in the chat. My 76-year-old mom says they've got a first-class one-way ticket straight to hell. I'd like to take it one step further than that.
Okay.
My grandmother, who left her Trumplafuck family in Montana and came first up to Oregon, then down to California to support my mom and her new family, is a true Christian. She's not a Christian nationalist. She fucking hates Donald Trump and her entire family, for that matter, for supporting him. The way we like to talk about it is that when a Christian nationalist gets up to the pearly gates after they die, hold on, it's gonna get things fixed. St. Peter takes a look at that list. He laughs in their face for 5 minutes straight, then just football kicks them, just punts them straight down at relativistic speed, straight to hell. And the thing is, these people are falling so far and so fast when they reach, the 9 circles, they're gonna hit hell, hit the bottom, smash through, and keep on falling.
Yeah, I mean, what these people have done is egregious, And to think that somebody would expect us to forgive them for that, that's ridiculous. I'm pulling somebody else up here. It's called The Same Sarcasm, but I think this is Adam. Adam, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Hey, hold on.
Hold on.
Shit.
What?
We catch you in the middle of something or what?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I was trying to send you something, and
don't worry
now
about sending me anything.
I'm on the screen and
I'm
I
on
can't
the live.
even see anything.
Okay, well, you can hear me, can't you?
I can.
Okay, well, let's just talk on the audio. We can see your picture. They can see me for whatever the fuck that's worth. What's on your mind today?
I tell you this all the time, but I really like your stuff.
Thank you.
You are so smooth and so ABC 1 2 3. Everything makes sense. I swear to God, I'm wondering if we're related somehow. I don't.
Well,
I'm not as eloquent as you are, but I get it every time.
Well,
everything.
I gotta tell you, Adam. My father was such that I don't know who the fuck I'm related to. It could be anybody.
Oh wow. God, there's so much. One thing. Everybody. The press lie. Some of the press have been sold out, bought out, whatever. However you want to look at it. Some of the press knows I have to sell a sexy story, so let's make it sexy and say that this armored group is going to go from A to B, and at the bottom of the whole story in fine print is it's not happening yet, which you never find out because they never tell you.
Right. I just want to just interject one thing real quick because people are asking. I talked about this earlier, but there's more people. I mentioned how Old Soul was detained in Los Angeles for a couple of days. She was in lockdown for a couple of days. We were waiting to find out what happened. She is out now. She is out of lockdown now. She even texted me. I'm going to try to get her on the podcast or in a live or something as soon as possible, but she's on the road to her home, which she should go to and stay for a while and just settle down. So Old Soul is out. And with regards to what you're saying, we got a lot of things being talked about what's going on in Los Angeles. I was watching Lawrence O'Donnell before I came on, probably the only person I'll watch on MSNBC. And he was saying there's literally nothing going on. We have 2,000 National Guard members out there, but only 300 have been put on the streets. The other 1,700 are parked someplace.
Yeah.
We find out that they didn't make provisions for any place for them to sleep or eat or water or anything. They just sent them out, didn't give a fuck about their health and welfare.
Well,
and now they're sending Marines out. Yeah, it's Donald Trump. Just get them out there fast. We'll figure out something later, and then they don't figure it out.
Yeah, they can sleep in the parking garage, on the concrete.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And that's what they were doing. They were sleeping in a room on a floor. They don't have water and food, and there was no plan. It's just, I want to make a splash. I want to give a presence. I want people to believe I'm tough. And honestly, this whole thing does nothing but make Donald Trump look fucking weak. This is panic reaction to
it's an extinction
this other
burst.
Shit going on. Yeah,
it's an extinction burst.
Yeah. You think he looks stupid now? Wait till his stupid ass parade comes.
Oh yeah, the streets are gonna be lined with people in chicken suits.
Yeah.
Adam, one thing about the parade that nobody has thought of, that somebody, I think in the military, has said, when those tanks roll down the street on the parade,
it destroys the
chew
asphalt.
up the concrete.
Yep. No, the asphalt.
Okay, really quick.
The concrete can take it. The asphalt can't.
True.
Really quick, to the person in the chat, Stormy says he wants to declare martial law. Yeah, right. Good luck.
Who?
You have any idea how big this country is? There's not enough people. There's not enough people. The only reason that works in small countries in Europe is because it's a small country with a relatively small population that is possible to control.
Listen.
That ain't gonna work here.
Hold on.
Bingo.
if they declared martial law, not only are we going to be mad, but the MAGAs are going to be fucking mad. And
Yeah.
I just want to remind everyone, there's 390 million pew-pews in this country.
Yes.
So, go ahead and do that, but
Well, we talk a lot about the Second Amendment. The Republicans particularly like the Second Amendment. They like to pervert it. They like to twist it. They like to say it means certain things that it doesn't mean. But it talks about weapons with regards to a regulated militia, right?
Yep.
People have to understand why that Second Amendment was written back in 1776 or whenever it was written. When that amendment was written, the intention of that Second Amendment wasn't to protect yourself from bears or go hunting or protect yourself from gang members. That's what it wasn't. It wasn't about that. It was about protecting your country from a government that's gone rogue, which is exactly where we're at right now.
Yes.
And by the way, to the people in the chat saying things like FDC or DFC Democrats for criminals and stuff like that, fuck every one of you.
Yeah,
Jay,
I'm
I'm gonna ask you-
blocking these assholes.
Jay, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you to do something just because it doesn't matter and because it just kind of inflames the issue. These people, these Trump-fucks that come up in the comments, don't even mention them. They come here for one reason. They can't establish a platform on their own, so they come here because they can get an audience and they say what they say. So don't give them any more platform. They're inconsequential. They don't fucking matter.
Okay.
We want to talk about the things we can do as opposed to.
No, they just come
I've
in
done
here.
that.
They just come in here to cause trouble, and it's fucking stupid. And they say the stupidest stuff, and I just kick them the fuck out of here. So that's the way it is.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
I know it makes you mad. It makes me mad too, and I love ripping them up too. But it doesn't do any good, and it may cause problems.
They can just go fuck themselves. I'll just kick them the fuck out of here. Don't worry about it.
This has nothing to do with comments. All right. I have a message to every fucking Trump-la-fuck out there. Okay.
Okay.
You hear me, you scum? I got some words for you, and you ain't gonna like them.
Bye, Catherine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I gotta gear up Dark J for this. Okay. The world is not a fucking pie. Okay? The world is not a pie. There are not fixed slices that go to different people. Someone else getting a bigger share of something that you've always had does not mean your slice is getting smaller. So let it go.
Absolutely.
Hold on, because I'm not done yet.
Okay.
To recognize, my problem is I have a lot of empathy. I have a capacity to care, as we've seen when I've been on the show. I care about people because I recognize empathy. I recognize humanity. I do not see that in all of you fucks. And so therefore, I'm going to stop seeing all of you as human and start calling you what you are, which is fucking pests. You're pests, every fucking one of you.
Absolutely.
Don't tread on me. Fuck that shit. I am going to tread on all of you. You all deserve to be tread on.
Absolutely. And Adam, give me a final comment. I'm going to cut you loose, and I got more people to come on, but tell me what else you're thinking.
Let me see. So many. In regards to Old Soul, I did I duetted at least 2 or 3 of your videos today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Including the 2 I think the 2 that you did on Old Soul and a few others. But the point I make every time is obvious as to why what you say is correct. And the other thing I wanted to say, if you need a moderator, I'll stand in for you, because I always say I will, and I always get home late, and and every time I get on here, I'm on for like the last 10 minutes,
Well,
and
I can make
I
you a
feel bad about
moderator,
that.
Adam. That's all right. No, that's all right. You know, we all have stuff to do, and I can make you a moderator. We're always welcoming as much help as we can possibly get. So once you're back in the comments, I'll see what I can do about making a moderator. I think I remember how to do it, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
All right, Adam. Thank you very much for joining us. You're welcome back anytime, of course. This is a TikTok live. We're talking about LA. We're talking about all the shit that's going on, and there's quite a bit of shit going on. Let's pull up Wesley. We'll see if he joins us here. Sometimes we get these
I'm
ones.
actually
Wesley,
she. I'm
you're
actually
actually who?
she. A she.
Okay, I'm sorry. It says
No,
Wesley,
no, no.
so
No, I know. It's yeah, I'm definitely a female. How's everyone? Thank you for allowing me to come up.
We're good. Thanks for coming on.
yeah,
No, happy to
absolutely.
have you.
What's your first name?
My first name's Natasha.
Natasha, nice to meet you. What's on your mind tonight?
Um, I don't know. It's funny because my anxiety has been at its at an all-time high every day since this man has been in office. But today, I kind of got like a sense of Um, I'm glad this has happened because the people are rising up. They're letting him know that they're not taking his shit, and I'm kind of glad for that. At the same time, though, I hope everyone stays safe because that's important too. Um, it's just a lot. I think the parade, though, however, is just going to be. I think today, what happened in LA was just the it was just one, the tiny pot that boiled over, the tiny one.
Natasha, don't you get the sense about what's going on now? And this is kind of how I'm feeling about it and why I'm feeling a little better is everything he does seems to be a panic action. It seems like he's trying to clean up. And when I've known narcissists, they end up lying and doing fucked up stuff, and they end up trying to juggle it. And for the most part, they've been pretty good at it. But they always come to a point where it's overwhelming, and they don't have the ability to juggle it anymore. And it seems like he's dropping some balls now, and that is a sign that the crash may not be that far off. So in that respect, I'm feeling better about this whole thing. I mean, it's going to be a
Yeah,
catastrophe.
me
It's going
too.
to be a crash, but we almost have to have that happen to get some dumb fucks to understand what's going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's why I said this is just a small pot that's boiling over. The big one has yet to come, and I think we're going to need it. I feel such a sense of relief right now. I feel so much better. I mean, I don't know how to say what
just as a
anything other.
I had a quick thing to make everyone laugh. This is from a friend of ours, Asgard SG1, in the comments. This is funny. I like this. He says they're gonna call Air Force One the Panda Express because it carries orange chicken.
Yeah,
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 they've been saying
Yeah,
that.
that's been going around.
I like that. Hey, Natasha and the rest of you guys, Jay and
Yeah.
TJ, have you seen that story? I mean, there's always kinds of memes and weird shit and stuff like that. But there was a picture of Donald Trump, and I'm not saying this because it's an important issue. I'm saying this because it's potentially embarrassing, and I think that's important that we get that across to Donald Trump. But there was a picture of him at the UFC fight last night, which is weird. We've got a big, massive thing going on in LA, and he's going out to a UFC fight. Well, there's a picture of him wearing a championship belt. And in his trousers, there's this line that goes down one leg. And nurses and other people have said that's definitely a catheter. That's definitely a
I
catheter.
heard
Anybody else seen
that.
that?
I
Yeah.
have heard that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see it myself, but like that's the rotation of things going around that
I
they're
didn't
saying.
see
Yeah,
the picture per se, but I heard people talking about it, and maybe he's dipping into Elon's stash that he left behind. You know, his ketamine stash that he left behind, and now he's having a little bit of. First, he had a little bit of
couldn't get that lucky
incontinence,
dude.
a
I'm
little
sorry.
incontinence with his diaper. Shit in his pants. Now he dipped into
Yeah.
Elon's ketamine, and he's having a little bit of a urinary problem.
Nah, I mean, Well, I don't know. Ketamine doesn't make you urinate like that, but yeah, he definitely has health issues. Um, and there's other predictions going around about what's going to happen even before his birthday. It's just so much going on, like a lot's going on.
Natasha, you obviously scroll TikTok from now and again. Obviously, you're here.
I am, I am a TikTok. I call it we as we say. I'm in the TikTok streets all the time.
All right.
Um, yeah, definitely.
Well, the reason I ask you that is, aren't you getting tired of the astrologers and the psychics saying this is definitely happening tomorrow? Next week, it's definitely happening, and it never happens. I mean, I know there are psychics that are good. I know some psychics that are real psychics, but I get so tired of hearing all these predictions that people say are definitely
Yeah.
going to come. I mean, we got the 4 a.m. club who was talking about it before the
Oh my
election,
gosh, I know that's horrible.
and now
Nothing
they're
that they've
still
ever
there
said come
saying
true.
it just took longer, but tomorrow's a fuck you. I'm tired of that
There's
shit.
about there's about as
I get
much
them all the time in my FYP.
there's there's
Yeah.
about as much chance of those predictions coming true as there is of Eric showing up on the live wearing pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a valid.
Yeah.
That is a valid point, Jay. That is very valid.
That
I
is
can
that
tell you
is
though what I am following on my
yeah.
a lot of, and that is the what's going on in New York. Now that seems to be holding credence because I've even spoken with people who aren't even on social
Do
media.
you do you mean Rockland County? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and yeah, that's and I checked into it. I because I'm a fact checker. You can't tell me anything without me looking into what you say, right? I'm not
Right.
going to believe it's social media. I'm not going to believe Fox. I'm not going to believe MS, whoever.
Yeah.
So I had to reach out to some people who, again, weren't on social media. People that I knew up in the New York area because I'm from New Jersey, and yeah, what's happening is it holds a lot of
Well,
validity.
the problem, and that's all good stuff, and I hope that it uncovers something that is worthwhile, which I think it will. But the issue that we have right now is that it's being challenged in court, so it has to be adjudicated before, like basically, the challenge in court is asking for discovery. So, in order to move that thing, you know, down the field, if you will, they have to get it into court, get the
I think
discovery
they've gotten
opened.
that far. No, I think they've gotten
They've
that
got
far.
it into court, but they have to get discovery. So discovery will allow the votes in that county to be recounted, by forensic
And
auditors.
again, I think
So,
they have gotten. I think they've almost gotten that far.
well,
I
they're
think it's
not.
almost there.
They're at the point where they're in court, but the discovery hasn't happened yet, which it will.
Hold on.
And I hope that it produces something of validity, which I believe it will.
Well, for the people that don't know what this is, and I'm not totally clued in about everything, but as I
Ah,
understand it, in simple terms, in this Rockland County, there was the election, of course. Uh, a senator who happened to be Democrat won in that district or that county by some 75%.
Right.
Correct.
Donald Trump got 500 or 600 votes in that county, and Kamala got zero. That
well, I think what
whole trend
started
is
it.
suspicious.
Well, I think what started it was they had either a new election, but something smaller on a smaller scale. And when they realized the number of people who voted overall or average, those numbers did not add up. So, which
Right,
led them
right.
to look at the presidential election. And that's when they started to discover the discrepancy.
Well, obviously there's some irregularities to the way the election played
No,
out.
these
Played
were
out.
serious. No,
Uh,
these were very,
as
very serious ones.
Asgard just called Donald Trump Mango Unchained.
I
So,
like it.
so
I like it.
if you don't
It's doubly
mind,
funny
oh,
if
I'm
you've
sorry.
seen the actual Django Unchained movie, which is fucking brutal.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, Natasha.
So what? what the discrepancies were so massive that they said there is no way that this could have ever happened. And,
Right.
and just to give you an example, they discovered, and I don't know the exact numbers, so I'm just going to give an estimate or make up some. They discovered that uh, a Democratic, at the time of the presidential election, the Democrat Senate got like 800 votes, and Donald Trump less, and then Kamala got maybe four, just four
Right.
votes, and this was in an all blue county, and then Trump may have gotten like 1,000 votes. So
Right.
that's where they're saying not only did it not add up overall of the people who voted, the number of people, but you're talking a Democratic state where the Senate was picked for Democrat.
Yep.
And there you go. Yes. So I think you
Well,
can get an idea.
it's definitely suspicious, but we have to wait and see on the discovery. But you have to remember, too, that Elon Musk said if Donald Trump doesn't win the election, he's probably going to go to jail. So what's that
Well,
tell you?
that's the other funny thing. So Elon also stated, and again, people aren't putting these things together because he's making it very clear what happened. Because his statement was on the X platform, he gave the exact number of senators that would have won versus over Republicans. He gave
Right.
the exact number to a T, meaning like it would have been 41 to 52. That's such an odd number for someone to just throw out there saying that they would have won.
Natasha, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. Feel free to come
Oh,
back anytime.
yeah, I think I got a violation.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did, and I'm not sure how or
That's
why that happened, but
that's weird.
she didn't say anything weird. But I've gotten some
No.
violations too
What's
by
your
saying
violations?
something. Not today. I haven't got any
Oh,
violations
oh, oh.
today, but in the past I've gotten violations, and
Yeah.
I don't know what she said, but I don't want to put her in a position where she gets any more than that. So we let her go and tell her she can come back anytime she wants. I'm going to pull up somebody we know very well, JD Farmer. He is the Illinois farmer who's also Gen Z. JD, what's up?
Oh, same old shit. I'm curious
Will
as
F
to
bomb violate?
No.
I'm curious about how this LA thing ultimately comes to an end. Because we hear that he sent Marines there and he's sending more National Guard there. They're just gonna stand
They're
there.
going to stand there. Yeah, I said that earlier.
Like
They're going to stand
what
around with their
what the
thumbs up
fuck
their
are they
ass.
gonna do? There's
they're,
nothing there.
they're going to go sleep in a parking garage.
Exactly.
It's stupid. It's fucking
Well, that's
stupid.
why. And that's why Donald Trump is going to fail again and look stupid. What he's trying to do is trying to incite the violence we saw in Minneapolis or some of the other cities. He wants that violence. He wants that chaos. He wants to be the tough guy fighting back against the people of color that are burning down our cities. I mean, he continually tells people that Minneapolis is burned down. Bitch, I live in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is fine. We had our problems during the George Floyd riots, but it's all good now. He wants to be able to say there's an insurrection or
Well,
there are these riots, but he's not getting it. So how it's going to end up is that we're going to get a bunch of people standing around doing nothing, and he's going to look foolish, and he's going to have to pull them out.
but Mike, you got to remember something. Like they're going to try the same shit that they tried with that. They tried to act like when the George Floyd thing happened, they said Minneapolis was burned to the ground.
Yeah,
And they said Portland, Oregon was burned to the ground. And as you know, my brother lives in, southern Washington State. He said
right.
there were he works in Portland. So when the whole thing happened, he said I went down to Portland. He said there was damage to one city block of some shit that happened there. The city wasn't burned to the ground. That's absolute bullshit. But that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make it look like the whole city is in chaos and destroyed, and Donald Trump is the savior, and he's sent the Marines there to, stop all this destruction. It's absolute bullshit. That's not even what's happening there.
Well, and the thing about it is, in Los Angeles, where this activity is happening in such small areas,
Yeah.
such tiny areas. It's not like the whole city. It's not like the '92 riots. This is just
Right.
small sections of the city in and around the detention center, and it's not that big deal. I saw the mayor talking to. She said she talked to the administration and go, it's really not a problem. It's nothing we can't handle. You don't need to send people here. But they aren't sending them there to protect anybody. They're sending them there to start some shit.
Right.
But unless they can bait the protesters into violence, they're going to look fucking stupid.
Right. And the LAPD had it under control. There's no reason why they needed to send the National Guard and now the Marines. That's absolute bullshit.
Do you know how under
Yeah.
control it is? On Saturday, 50 LAPD officers marched in the Pride Parade. It's so under control, they don't even need their whole force.
Right.
Get
Let me
fucked,
ask you a
MAGA.
let me ask you a question if you guys know this. Now, Donald Trump initially deployed 2,000 National Guard. We know right now that there's really only 300 on the street. There's 300 on the street. Now, I've heard two things. I've heard 1,700 people didn't respond to the request to have them come out, and I've heard some people say they've got them stockpiled in some location and they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Do we know which one it really is?
I don't know. I would imagine that they don't. I would imagine that there's probably an off-site, I guess, encampment for a better word, because they don't just send 300 National Guard. They usually send 1,000, and then they send what they need. They're sitting off-site somewhere, playing poker with each other because there's nothing else to do. Like, that's probably what's going on. That seems more accurate to me, just based upon what I know about the National Guard. So it's probably true. There's probably like 100 of them hanging around and then 1,000 of them sitting 5-6 miles away doing nothing. It's just silly.
Yeah, and of course we know that, as we talked about before, Donald Trump didn't think had enough to find a place for these people to sleep because they're sleeping on floors. He didn't requisition enough money for food and water, basic luxuries that people like to have.
He's an idiot.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Somebody else mentioned this too, and I wanted to ask what you guys know about this. Teresa says one guy was hit in the face with a rubber bullet. Now, I did hear about them shooting rubber bullets, and I think that was LAPD. I know there was one Australian journalist that was hit in the foot by a rubber bullet.
Yeah,
were they actually using rubber bullets at one point?
There was one.
That is true.
There was one Australian reporter lady who got shot in the back of the shoulder live on air.
Wow.
By some dumb ice fuck who was not even wearing a mask. Like, if you zoom in, you could clearly see his face. Fucking fungus-sucking sack of maggot puke.
Yeah, he's probably an oath keeper.
Yeah, probably an oath keeper. But now, as I understand it, with the National Guard and the Marines, should they be there, they don't have any ability to do any police actions. They're just there to keep a semblance of normality. They can't really do anything.
This is all performative. This is all for fucking shots on Fox News. That's all it is. It's all performative. It's a bunch of bullshit. Nothing.
It's like Will says. It's a reality show.
It is a reality
show.
And I'm surprised Will isn't here because he's got a lot to say. But it's all a joke. It's all performative to get clips for Fox News. They want to show, the staging area where the National Guard are to make it look like it's a big, invasion. So they're in there, keeping the peace. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's just performative. The whole thing is a stage for Jesse Waters to go on Fox News tonight and say the National Guard is quelling all these people who are causing chaos and a riot, and it's not. It's absolute bullshit, and it's
They'll
fucking
say all
disgusting.
that shit on the news.
Yeah, of course.
if that were
liars.
On the news
They're
while
fucking
playing
liars.
footage from the George Floyd riots.
if that were
Yeah.
true, Jesse, the National Guard would be knocking on your fucking door.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absolute bullshit. It's so stupid. And all the Trumple fucks are eating it up, thinking that something's happening that's not happening.
Because they're filth.
Exactly.
They're
Well, and
pests,
that-
like I said before.
And that's what's been going on for 8 years. Donald Trump telling them things that aren't
Right.
happening or aren't true, and they buy into it. I'm going to pull up somebody here. I believe it's Kim, and I'm going to do my best to pry an opinion out of her. It's sometimes hard.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
Oh,
Oh,
my
boy.
reputation precedes me.
It does. It does.
And
Just
just
get crazy up in this bitch.
and just FYI, when we get to the end, I saw British John in here, just so you know.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Things about to get crazy up in here.
Well,
What's
I
up,
was
Kim?
on Joy Reid had her very first Substack, YouTube, all the social medias combination show tonight, and she's in LA right now, and she described some of the situations you all were just talking about, and her camera crew and some of her assistants went out ahead to all the locations, and they videotaped, filmed, and photographed. And they're going to be posting all of that, and said, it's as peaceful as you could imagine. That it was
Right.
really contained to a 3-block area, and it wasn't 3 consecutive blocks, but it was like 3 blocks, right, that were involved, where there was
Right.
a little bit of a kerfuffle after the National Guard arrived, not before, and that
Right.
basically their presence instigated it, and the police chief had already said, we don't need your help. We're good here. There's no problems. And as was pointed out by JD, I think it was, there were a number of police officers in a pride decorated police vehicle in the parade. So, we weren't talking about all hands on deck here.
No, definitely not.
What, Trump is inciting, and I put a video out, and I don't remember which account it's on right at the moment, but I put a video out about how concerned I was when this started on the beginning of the weekend, when it started escalating. Because when I heard, I don't know, do you guys know who Tennessee Brando is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I know.
When
I
I
know.
saw his video, and I also duetted it, and it got like no play at all, they totally shadow banned it. I had to keep privating it and then re-releasing
You're
it.
scaring them.
Yeah.
Because you're scaring them.
Yeah, and I had to keep re-releasing it and still not getting any play. But he read the document from the government listing the number of the soldiers that are going to be at the parade. It was 9,000. 7,000 are going to be in the parade. Where are the other 2,000 going to be? They're bringing
Good point.
tanks, artillery. They're going to house them in some federal buildings that are in D.C. that are now currently empty because of what Doge has done. And the list goes
Right.
on and on. Helicopters flying overhead, fighter planes, and all this stuff. And when I heard what happened on the East Coast, I said to myself, he's getting ready to flank the country. He's flanking the country. He's trying to load up both coasts because he's not worried about the people in between. The people in between are insignificant. There's no big cities really in the center, right? It's mostly on the outskirts, on the two coasts, because they don't have enough military to cover the vastness of the country.
Well,
Now, Kim, let me ask you something, Kim.
Careful.
I think you're giving Donald Trump a little too much credit.
Oh, I
as
don't
his-
think he's
yes.
behind it. I don't think it's his plan.
Well-
I think it's Stephen Miller's plan.
Well, even Stephen Miller,
after
because
that,
Stephen
she
Miller's
did.
dumb. Here's the thing: you're talking about a strategy. They just said National
got
Guard
cucked by
to
Elon
fucking
Musk.
California.
How smart
They
can he
got
be?
They sent National Guard, and they didn't even make provisions for them to fucking survive. Donald Trump, and here's the other thing you have to understand about Donald Trump. I've said this many times. No matter what he does, no matter how he does it, he will always fuck up. He's always fucked up everything he did. I don't think
Yeah.
he's flanking the country. I think he's just trying to self-aggrandize himself and make people applaud him, because that's what he seeks more than anything, is approval. And as of late, he's not getting much of that approval. People, his own people, are even talking shit about him. He's desperate to do something to get people to love him, and it ain't going to work because he's an unlovable motherfucker.
Oh yeah, no question about that. I mean, but you got California taking up almost the entirety of the West Coast, except for Oregon and Washington. But you got Washington D.C. as a base, and you got New York City, you got Boston, you got Philadelphia, we got Newark, New Jersey. You got a lot of big cities on the East Coast that they could easily get to if he decides to declare M law. By
He's
using,
not going to. It's not going to work, though.
why do you need 9,000 soldiers for a parade?
Because he's a fucking idiot. That's
9,000.
why. He
What?
thinks he needs that many troops, but he's
Kim, do you really think this is a secret thing? I'm going to call it a parade and I'm going to take over the country. I beg to differ on that. I don't think that's true. He's a fucking goofball. He's a fucking goofball that wants himself to look important. He wants to be like Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin. He wants to do what the strong men do. I don't think this has anything to do with him taking over a country. Fuck, he can't even control Los Angeles. 3 blocks.
Did you see him today in the Oval Office in the conference? And he said, it's just a coincidence that it's my birthday. It's not really for my birthday. It's really to celebrate. Yeah, to celebrate the military. He said, because other countries celebrate their military, and why weren't we celebrating our military?
Yeah.
It's so much a coincidence that there's talk that they're going to sing happy birthday to him.
Yeah.
Fuck
Right.
that.
It's called small dick energy. That's what the fuck it is.
Well, really, what it
small dick energy with a catheter in it now.
Oh Jesus!
So that's a different definition of streaming.
Oh no!
Booyah!
Oh no!
Damn, the bomb's getting dropped tonight.
British John got some joke competition that
You're stealing my job as the one who makes the bad jokes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think and British John down there is probably getting pissed too.
Yeah, I wonder if he has
I would say
a
Trump's
staff
getting
advisor.
pissed, but it's more like he's pissing.
Yeah, right.
I'd stop with the bad jokes. Fuck.
Hey, I
got a
mine was pretty
reputation.
good.
I got a reputation here, motherfuckers. But I wonder if he doesn't have an advisor. No.
This is hilarious.
But here's, I'm cool with it if it's funny. If it's not funny, hold on to it. Anyway.
Wow, I think I was just insulted.
Well, then you're part of the family because I insult everybody. TJ, for example.
He fucks with me all the time.
Cool.
I'm trying to tell a joke here, and you fucked up my rhythm so bad. It's just
You like that?
I'm
like that
sorry.
scene from that one movie, The Emperor's New Groove? Go! You threw up my groove.
yeah. Pretty much that's it. But I wonder if he doesn't have an advisor with that catheter going down his leg saying, Mr. President, your sock is full up. We maybe have to go in the back. Because it's got to go somewhere.
Right.
You got a full sock, Donnie.
Oy.
Hey, I would like to point out something, though.
Yeah.
Rubber bullets are legal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And there's a lot of cosplay, ICE people out there. They're Proud Boys or, Oath Keepers or whatever they are. So, and I would also like to point out that since rubber bullets are legal, you can purchase them. And also there's Fox News commentators and all these people out there. So, people get arbitrarily hit with certain things. So just putting it out there.
Well, yeah. I mean, that could happen, and I wouldn't be sad about it.
Kim, you mentioned small dick energy earlier.
No, I did.
Really, what all of this is Donald Trump trying to stand over his dad's grave with a megaphone, screaming, "I'm better than you."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because his dad really fucked him up, and he spent his whole time trying to one up his dad as revenge.
Well, I mean, his
There-
own
there's-
mother said that he would not be a worthwhile politician back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, he's been a wannabe everything. When he was here on the East Coast and in New York City, he wanted to be covered on Page 6 so bad with all the socialites, and they they wouldn't give him the time of day.
Yeah, he was on page 30.
Absolutely.
Because they smelled a phony.
Absolutely. Now, there's somebody in the comments that said this. I blocked them because I didn't like them. But they said, I have never heard such tasteless, immature comments in my life. And to that I say, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we were going for.
Yes.
That's what
I-
exactly
I
what we were
vouch
going
for
for.
it.
Well, ain't that some lovely wisdom?
Yeah. Okay, Kim, I've got Eric and some other people
You
coming up,
go.
so I'm going to let
Okay.
you go.
You got it.
All right. Thank you
Bye,
very
guys.
much. Okay, that is Kim, and we're going to bring up Eric.
Yeah. And just before that comes up, I just want to thank the TikTok shop because the TikTok shop is awesome, and you should
I
buy
love
lots
the
of stuff on the
TikTok
TikTok shop.
You know what I got from TikTok Shop today?
What'd you get?
I got those bungee boat ties because they're actually a pretty cool idea. They're bungees, but they got loops on the end, and you can tie your boat down without wrapping it around 9 million times and trying to come up with a double half hitch, whatever the fuck it
Well, there
is.
you go. Studio B. Studio B is safe.
Studio B
right.
is safe. Eric is with us now. He's kind of been
Eric.
in and out lately. His schedule's been changing. He's going to be on the podcast. Was it tomorrow? I think. Yeah, tomorrow.
I think so.
Or the next day or whenever it is. But Eric, you're with us, and no doubt you have some insightful perceptions of what's going on in Los Angeles. Something
Hopefully.
that doesn't have to do with small dick energy or something legitimate.
Hopefully he has some pants to go with that insight.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate question.
It is.
Yes. The whole thing with LA, it was fine until Donald Trump escalated the whole situation. His idea,
Absolutely.
him calling out the National Guard against the advice of Gavin Newsom without even consulting him, now wanting to potentially deploy Marines, which is illegal, by the way. You can't deploy the military against U.S. civilians on U.S. soil. That goes against multiple different sections of the code of U.S. Law plus the Code of Military Justice. The whole thing is ridiculous. He's escalating. He is going to be backing these Republicans into a corner where they're not going to have much of a choice but just, try to back away from him.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, he fails all the time. He's got these brilliant ideas that always fail. And each time he does that, it does cost the Republican Party a certain amount of credibility, legitimacy, or even electability. And for the life of me, I don't understand why they don't see it. You and I and everybody else can see it, but they cannot see that they're damaging their own prospects.
Well, of course he fails all the time. Just ask his 3 wives and Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
You got Henny of the Canadian Path up there.
What?
Anyway, go ahead, Eric. Yeah, it's an old reference that you're too young to know. Have you ever heard of Henny Youngman?
No, I haven't.
Well, then shut up and Google that shit.
I will consider myself put in my place.
All right, there you go. Eric, go ahead.
Well, this whole thing, he's escalating. He thinks he's being tough and he's being strong. He doesn't see how weak and cowardly this looks.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't handle a little criticism, so you're sending in the National Guard. I mean,
Exactly.
ridiculous. And I think people are going to start waking up to some of this because like Fox is having to cover some of it, and you're seeing real-time reporting of it being peaceful, and the only ones escalating anything, it's coming from, like I said, Donald Trump escalating it. And what was it? Ted Cruz put out something showing all of the damage and the looting and all this. He was using video clips from 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, I've
That's a
seen
lie.
that quite a bit.
Absolute
Yep.
bullshit.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you know, if I called in the National Guard every time I got criticized in my own home, I'd have to buy another place because it'd have to be bigger. I would have National Guard in here all day, every
Every
day.
day.
I just take it like a man, best I can, fire some back occasionally, and try to get through the day. Donnie's just
Okay.
not capable of doing that. He's so fucking paranoid and so thin-skinned that he's always has to have a reaction, unless you're Elon Musk and talking about Jeffrey Epstein. That's a whole different deal. He's a little more cautious with that. What do you think's going to happen there with Jeffrey Epstein? No, not Jeffrey Epstein, but Elon and Donald. It seems to die down some, and Elon's even supporting Donald Trump a little bit in the tweets that he put out. Do you think this is going to ramp up again? Do you think they're going to get mad? I don't think Donald Trump forgets.
No, it's going to ramp up again. Almost guarantee you. They're not at the end of this. They don't back. Neither one wants to really back off. It just right now,
No.
this is where the focus is. So both sides are just like, okay, they're trying to take the focus off their feud, but something's going to start it again. You've got
Well, yeah.
Elon coming out with some very specific information saying that Democrats would have the presidency of the House and Republicans will only have 51 to 49 seats in the Senate, not 43 to 47 like it is. Weird that it's that specific. You know, is he saying, well, that was where he spent the money and his influence helped there? Or is he saying he had more to do with it? And I think he may
Yeah.
accidentally screw up. One of them might screw up and admit to some funny business.
Well, Donald Trump loves doing it out in public, any kind of crime he commits, so it wouldn't be surprising. They're both stupid enough and arrogant enough and emotional enough to just spew something without thinking about it. And that's kind of what happened when their little back and forth was going on. People kept trying to tell me, oh, it's just a distraction for something bigger. No, they were going too deep and too hard on that for that to be a distraction. These were malignant narcissists that do what they do. They lose their shit and they say stuff that they don't want to say or shouldn't say, and they just can't help themselves.
Right.
I really want to say to all the people in the comments saying that they're going to steal the elections, or it's all going to be rigged. We're not going to have midterms. We're not going to have this. We're not going to have that. Stop it. All you're doing is helping to suppress the vote. You're not helping anything. If you want to go and cry and whine and poop your pants, go do it in the corner with Chuck Grassley, okay?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I get tired of people doing that. Well, the world's going to end. The sky is falling. We can't do anything. If you really believe that, then why are we even talking about it? I mean, there's got to be some hope. There's got to be some fight in us to go back at these people. I've said this before. We've had times that weren't like this necessarily, but may have been equally as bad, like the 1960s. If you're old enough to remember the 1960s, there was some fucked up shit going on there. We thought we wouldn't get out the other side, but we do. And if you look back in history, when we've had tough times like this, we always do come out the other side, and oftentimes we come out better because we're able to clean up the things that we now know exist.
Absolutely. I did have another thing I wanted to say of addressing this problem afterwards to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again. I'm sorry to maybe, I don't know, go this route, but in my opinion, we need to make the phrase "Make America Great Again" illegal. And what I mean by and what I mean by that is that when the is lost the Second World War and got forced out. All right, this is maybe a little bit unrelated, but there's a channel on YouTube I like to watch called the Slingshot Channel. He's a guy who lives in Germany, and he has a collection. I think it's from his father or grandfather. I don't remember how they got it. I think it was like a stuff that they took from soldiers that they took down in the resistance. Yeah. I think his family was affiliated with the anti German resistance, and he got a hold of a whole lot of old like ceremonial daggers and gear and stuff.
Yeah, memorabilia.
And one of the things that's written on one of those daggers is a phrase. In English, it's "My honor is loyalty." I'm really afraid about saying that like that, but it's so bad in German that if you say that in Germany, you get arrested. Like, it's a crime.
Wow.
We need to do that to all the MAGA merch. Make that shit illegal. Because the only way
Doesn't that
people will
infringe
stop
on the
coming
First
back to
Amendment,
it
though?
is if we
It's really I get Jay's point, but it's really the laws here are different than the laws there, and the Constitution lays out in the First Amendment that people have the right to express themselves, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press. So that's going to be a hard road to cross. I just don't think it. I understand why Jay wants it to happen, but I just don't think that's in the vein of reality.
Yeah,
I don't.
I agree.
Oh, I don't think we can actually ban it like that, but I think it's going to take, the court of public opinion. It's going to be one of
Yeah.
those phrases. The red hats, they're going to go in the closet. When he finally falls from grace and he gets, whatever little bubble he still has, and when it's all said and done, and all of the dirt comes out and everything, and he's out of the public specter, he's gonna.
It'll throw itself in the dumpster, Eric.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like people they won't want to bring that up again. You're going
Yeah.
to see Republican politicians, even ones that would say it daily, they're going to start backing away whenever they think it's convenient for them. They care about one thing, and that's getting reelected.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna pull somebody else up here. We know we've talked to her a number of times.
Kim.
Oliver,
oh, this ought to
Hi.
be this ought to be fun.
Oliver's mom. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I'm watching the news as we're talking here, and I don't know if anybody's mentioned it yet, but there's something going on in Dallas. There's
What's
some
that?
protests going on in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's as big as LA right now, but they've shown it a couple times. The Dallas police pushing back crowds and things like that, just like they're doing in LA.
I can't watch the news because I'm kicking Trumplefucks out of here, so
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out of the loop.
And y'all were mentioning the rubber bullets earlier. They
Yes.
are
Yeah.
they're like capsule shaped, about the size of an egg. And the ones
Wow.
that showing the reporters actually had some in their hands and were showing them on air. And they're like blue and black in color. But they're pretty decent size. They look like they would leave a nice bruise, sort of like a paintball pellet would leave, only a little bit bigger.
Wow.
But yeah, they were showing that. And they're also saying that there are 1,700 National Guards deployed in Los Angeles, according to some official, is what they're saying. But
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. They were showing people earlier that were in that khaki type uniform, but they weren't National Guard. They were oh come on, can't remember what it was, but they were a local group, but they weren't National Guard.
Proud Boys,
I'm
Patriot
curious.
Front, one of those.
I'm sorry.
Proud Boys, Patriot Front, one of those type of
No,
groups.
they were an official group, but I can't remember what they were. Like sort of like
Like SWAT maybe or
California
what?
Highway Patrol, but it's just slipping my brain. But they would look like National Guard from a distance, but they weren't.
Yeah, they're
Let me-
freaking Proud Boys.
No, they
Let-
weren't. I can't remember what they were. They were sheriff's office. They had sheriff's office on their back.
Yeah, they're probably.
Let me ask you this. We know the National Guard is there. There may be only 300 on the streets. That's what I'd heard. And the 1,700 either didn't show up or stockpiled someplace.
Right.
And apparently Donald Trump doesn't even think that's enough because he wants to send another 2,000 National Guard there so they can sit on their ass. But I've been hearing about the Marines. I've been hearing about the National Guard. Where the fuck are the ICE agents? I haven't heard
Exactly.
anything about them. What are they doing? Where are they
Yeah,
at? Are they hiding?
Yeah, they're
Yeah, I haven't
hiding.
seen them.
They're probably gone.
They're not doing shit.
I'm
Yeah,
sure they want to get the hell out
And
of there.
I had also heard that the National Guard that are there were actually part of the help that was sent for the fires. That they basically just pulled them over, and they were there
okay.
to protect the federal buildings and such, which they are allowed to use them for that purpose, to protect the federal buildings and federal
You know-
employees and stuff like that.
You know what's funny? I think I might have said this to Mike earlier, but if they attack, well, I guess it's an attack.
Oh
I don't know.
no.
If they go into South Central Los Angeles and into Compton and all these other places, don't you think that will unify the gangs in those areas?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it might.
Like,
It might very well.
can you imagine? Like the Bloods and the Crips are gonna unify to
Oh my
stop these
God.
motherfuckers.
Against, yeah.
Someone.
Yeah, like that. That's like I think that's legit. Like I think that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah. And I also think that, if they get the Marines in there or try to get the Marines in there and stuff like that, there are going to be a certain number of them that are going to say, no, we're not going to go against our own citizens because, that's not right. That's not what the Marines are there for, or the Army or the Navy. They're not supposed to be used against our own citizens.
Exactly.
So I think they're gonna have some trouble with certain ones of them saying, no, I'm not doing it. So,
I just want to say something to some red states out there, places like Missouri, Kentucky, North Carolina, Georgia, all these places that were hit with tornadoes. And Donald Trump didn't see fit to send anybody there to help them. Nobody. No money, nobody to help them. But now we know why. Because they're too busy going to a non-riot in fucking Los Angeles. We got all these people showing up there because we can afford that, but we can't afford to help people that are truly struggling, albeit in red states, or tornadoes. People's homes have been ripped away. People are suffering. People are sick. People are dying there. Donald Trump can't see it his way to send anybody there, but we can send them to L.A. for a non-fucking event. So you red states, tip your hat to Donald Trump. You got what you fucking voted for.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you defund FEMA.
right. Well, yeah. And the other thing is taking away some of the forecasting abilities in those areas where we don't have forecasters and people that can send out alerts at night in some of those areas
Right.
because there's not enough funding to allow that. So, my concern is how many of the deaths in that area are because of the forecasting, the alerts weren't there, and these people didn't know until like the last minute when the local news was able to say, hey, you got something on the way. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was part of the problem with Kentucky. Those tornadoes hit overnight, and there was nobody in the National Weather Service to give any kind of warning of any kind, and these people just got devastated.
Yes. And, how many of those deaths were because of that?
Yeah, you'll wonder. But Donald Trump doesn't care about deaths. Remember, 1 million people died in COVID, and he doesn't care. And now we've got RFK Jr. I don't know if you heard this story.
Yeah.
There were 17 people on a panel regarding vaccines, including COVID. They were experts to handle that. RFK fired them all.
Oh,
This
that's
is a
great.
dumb motherfucker. Yeah,
that's good.
Incredible.
That's good, man.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
I really hope that guy finds out more than one definition of fired at some point. Like
Oh, yeah.
create a fucking registry for autistic people, will you?
They already did.
Yeah.
Fucking scum.
So I got this guy that I'm going to block, and his name is Gedden. He says the whiny boomers complaining about Trump when they're responsible for this country's mess. Well, I tell you what, fuck off. But see what I did there, Jay? I blocked him before I said that, so he doesn't even know he's an asshole, and I pointed it out. But
No,
whiny boomers.
You
I
sound
wouldn't
like
have known you
asshole.
I wouldn't have known you were an asshole
Fuck
without
this
all
guy.
that brown nosing you're doing.
Yeah, no shit. No kidding.
I just blocked another asshole.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
I got a
Go
thing
ahead.
to talk about with Will, who unfortunately is not with us right now. But I did a little digging, and I have discovered who Will and I and everyone else's real problem is when it comes to morons on the left. More
What's that?
specifically, okay, so I have been to multiple events in my Unitarian Universalist community and some other sort of pseudo-political get-togethers. And there are a number of people there that I was with there who consider themselves further left than Lenin was, who all
Okay.
and they were all Kamala Harris voters. They all showed up to do their civic duty. They all showed up to vote. They all did what they knew they had to do.
Really?
Yeah. So what I have determined is that our problem is not with the far left, because there is some sense there. I mean, yeah, they weren't happy about some of the stuff that was going on, but they still knew what they had to do. They still knew what the alternative was.
Right.
Our problem is not with the far left; it's with the authoritarian left, or the auth left, as they've been called. The
I've never
auth
heard of that.
left do not want debate. They do not want discussion. They do not want reasonable discourse. All they want is affirmation from sycophantic yes men. The only answer they want to hear from anyone is, yes, sir, whatever you say, sir. And if they don't get that answer, they crash out.
Yeah. Well, there's that's the thing about it. It's always tough when you say all Democrats, all Republicans, all far left, all far right, and you categorize them all in one lump. It's hard to do because we've got such a vast smattering of dumb fucks in this country. I mean, there is a epidemic of stupid in this country, and they come in all forms, whether it be Republican or Democrat. And we saw it play out on November 5th. And I don't know what we can do about it. What can we do with dumb people? They just don't get it. They're uninformed. They make ridiculous choices. What the fuck do you do with that? You can't change their minds because they don't have the ability to comprehend fact or truth.
You can't reason with them. They have no reason. Somebody's talking in the chat about there's no discourse, whatever, for MAGA. Yeah. The thing about the auth left is that they're blue MAGA, or they're not even blue MAGA. They're green MAGA. Like they're closer to the Greens than they are to the Democrats. But
right.
The thing is that it really boils my blood when people sing the praises of Hassan Abi on YouTube, because I mean he's leftist, whatever else. You also realize he was thrown out of the DNC for trying to convince Democratic voters to let Trump win, right? Well, I hope he's fucking happy because he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
See,
exactly.
The thing about people like Hassan and the auth left is that they support Russia because they think Russia's communist. And that's the society they want. They want an authoritarian communist utopia that's built around their vision of what the world should be like. Like, you guys don't get it.
What do you guys think about this? I've said this before. I think there's a certain faction of people on the Democratic side are just hoping for the absolute worst outcome here, just to punish the people that didn't vote properly and just to destroy the Republican Party even more than it has. They're waiting for a catastrophe or a calamity of some sort. Just the worst possible thing to bury the Republicans and kind of punish the people who didn't vote properly. They're just kind of at that point. They don't care. That's why they sit in Congress with their thumbs up their ass and do nothing. Do you get that sense, Eric, or anybody?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, yeah.
That it seems that there's at least a segment of the population that's like, we spent months going into the election ever since Donald Trump said he was running again, talking about everything that was going to happen. And they're like, we warned you. All we can do is sit back and let you see what is going to happen. And once you feel the effects, maybe then you'll learn it. They've given up at this point. So, at least some of them have.
Right.
Yeah, it does seem like that. It does seem like that.
I think there's also a certain group out there that's waiting for something to explode. They're just waiting for something big to happen. And, I don't know what that big is, but they're waiting for something big to happen.
Do you think that's inevitable? I've said that before. For some people to wake up or understand what's going on, something dramatic or horrible has to happen before they will wake up. They can't see the writing on the wall, so they got to get smacked in the face.
Yeah, I think so. I really do, because it's, they're not going to believe that it can get that bad until it gets that bad.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely.
I'm watching some things right now. They've got the regular police line there, but on the street that I'm seeing, they've got maybe 30 or 40 police SUVs with their lights on, lined up behind the police line. So I don't know what
Well,
they're planning to do with those vehicles or why they're doing that, whether they're just trying to use them as a blockade to keep people from trying to go back further down the street. But it's just like almost like in parade formation down the street from where the police line is.
wow.
And yeah, I can't tell what they're trying to do, really, at this point.
Well, Oliver's mom, thank you for coming on. We're getting toward the end, and I'm going to try to get a few more people on, but I appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime. It's always great to hear from you.
Thanks for having me up.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because I don't know that Donald Trump is going to be content with nothing happening. I mean, he sends in the National Guard hoping that will incite something. It doesn't. So he sends in the Marines. And if that doesn't work, what next? What's the other excuse me. What's the other option? I mean, what else can he do? He's desperate for something big to happen there so he can come out to be the hero and be the tough guy, but it's not happening. That's what Lawrence O'Donnell was saying. There's nothing happening there.
And I think that's the word out on the street. Like, people are talking about that on the street and saying, hey, just chill out. Like, I know things are tense. Just calm down. We don't want to give them the fucking photo op that they need or whatever it is. Like, Fox News is down there chomping at the bit, trying to, make a story out of it. And I think that, I hope that, and I think that, minus the agitators that are plants there, none of that stuff will happen.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Let's pull somebody up here. It's Coach Mox. He's been on a number of times. He's a creator that I follow, and you should too. If you're out there, you should follow Analytical Iowan as well. You should check out his page. So, Coach Mox, what's up? What's on your mind?
Oh, man, just checking out everything that's going on. My son's in LA, and it's right there near where everything's happening. So I've been up late past 2 nights and just seeing what this idiot's gonna do next. But I did watch. I'm not a big distraction guy. I hate I hate to give him the credit of trying to do some things like that because he's so stupid. But
Yeah.
Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out some things tonight that are, opened my eyes because I was distracted.
Right.
That RFK canceled all the
Vaccine advisors.
Fucking so stupid.
and
jeez.
and just the more disgraceful things that have happened. Zelensky shot back at him on the ridiculous thing he said when he said there were like 2 kids fighting. Just so there are. It's just a lot going on and hard to get your arms around it.
Did you hear why RFK fired all those 17 advisors? Did you hear what his reasoning for that was?
I can't wait to hear it.
Conflict of interest. What does that even fucking mean?
That means he's an
They're
idiot,
advising about vaccines. Yeah, he's an idiot.
and he thinks he knows more than people that have been studying this stuff and went to the greatest schools in the world to study it, and he knows more.
Yeah, but he's got that worm in his brain, so he's got an excuse
The worm
for
is making
some of the goofy shit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It reminds me every time I get in a car with my granddaughter, she says, "Grandpa, give me your phone," and I said, "What do you want to hear?" She goes, "Herman the Worm." So I'm playing Herman the Worm, and all the time I'm playing that, I'm thinking of RFK Jr. Herman the Worm is in RFK Jr.'s head.
Yeah.
No.
And
Don't you remember? Herman the Worm starved to death.
No, he didn't starve. He starved. Well, yeah, that Herman the Worm starved to death because there was very little to work on.
Had to bring in a replacement.
Coach, were you in the military at one point, or am I misremembering that?
No, and something happened with that. I had to go back. I made a video on how I support Ukraine and all that, and the next thing I know, I have the what do you call it? The people that protect that. There's a group of them that protect, what do you call that? Valor, stolen valor. And so I had
Stolen valor, right?
yeah, all of a sudden I have a call from them like, No, my father served, my brother served, my uncle. I always talk about them. My grandfather flew in World War II, and I talked about all that. And so I come to find out, one of the MAGA people had. There's another guy with the exact same name that has a LinkedIn profile, and he was in the Air Force. And I had to end up contacting him to have them call the people, and it was just a disaster. But this is all MAGA. This is all they have to do is run around and talk about how I, was saying that I was a pilot and all this, just ridiculous. So I got it straightened out finally, but I've never ever, and I gave them, my Facebook feed, everything. You'll never find anything where I've ever said that. I do talk about it a lot. All my family, so many members of my family have served, so I've got a great respect for them. And I did a story that's not been on any news network, and it was about the Daniel Gonzalez. Did any of you hear about that?
Yes.
No. Go ahead.
He was a sergeant in the Army, served 5 years. He died unexpectedly a couple weeks ago. And his father resides in Mexico and asked for entry in to see come to his son's funeral. Well, they denied it. And he's got 2 other sons that serve in our armed forces as well. And it was just so disgraceful to see this. And I had to fact check everything just because I couldn't find it. Nobody would air it. And it's true. I mean, it's even, he's got his own obituary. It's just a sad deal.
Well, the total disrespect for the armed service is ridiculous. I mean, sending the military into Los Angeles, that's disrespectful. Calling them suckers and losers, that's disrespectful. Having this parade and pulling all these military people off and putting them in this parade is disrespectful. He has nothing but disrespect for our military, in spite of what he might say. And nobody's ever claimed that I've stolen valor. I was too young to go to Vietnam, and I never was drafted or anything. I did have to register. The only service I did is I started my service as a Cub Scout, and I left as a Weeblo. So I feel pretty. I protected campfires all over northern Minnesota during that period. But I do have a lot of respect for people who serve, and when you have disrespect for that, I don't get it. It says a lot about Donald Trump's personality. Donald Trump, people say he doesn't like this person. Donald Trump doesn't like anybody that's not him.
Well,
it's only about him.
Right. And when it comes to veterans, it's honestly, I think he really has a bit of a hatred. And it came out because, when he said what he said about John McCain, it's just, he can't be John McCain. He never will be. And he sees disgrace. Like he knows that's why he felt the need to insult him. And there's just so many things he's done. When McCain couldn't even lift his arm up, he gave the thumbs down when he wanted to, it was about the Obamacare. And what's Trump do? He comes out and mocks him. Like, people forget he does shit like that. And it's just, he's disgraceful. And employing 700 Marines to this, I don't understand. What are Marines? They're not the right, branch to pull anyway. But what are you going to do with
Well, hold on there. The President of the United States has ultimate control over the Marine Corps. That's why.
So you're saying that's the only one that he can?
Yeah, the president can direct the Marine Corps anywhere he wants them to go.
But what I'm saying is, what are the Marines going to do out there? I mean, in a riot, I don't. And it's not even a riot. It's they're provoking it and trying to get it there.
Well, their instructions are to do nothing, basically. So it's just for show. I was talking about this earlier before you came on. This is all performative. It's to get clips on Fox News. It's all a bunch of bullshit. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna get staged in an area. A couple of them will be on the scene to get some video clips, and the rest of them are gonna be standing there with their thumbs up their ass.
Well,
pretty much.
I was just wondering too, this Gavin Newsom thing. I wonder how far they're going to try to take this, because it's. I honestly think if they screw with him, I think that's what tips it in a way. I don't know, because right now Gavin Newsom has been the voice and kind of the pushback a little bit here, where everybody's feeling. He just said it. Was it yesterday? Maybe. The guy's a liar. He's lost his mind. And, they talked about arresting him and this and that. I don't know that they'll do that. But.
Well, the thing about the reason he's sending the Marines in all seriousness, he sent the National Guard to prove a point, and it didn't prove a point. But then Gavin Newsom, and he said before that, he said, well, I might send in the Marines. And Donald Trump is always making threats. But then when Gavin Newsom came out, called him a coward, called him weak, called him unconstitutional, Donald Trump had to hit back in some way. So that's why he sent out the Marines. And then he said that Tom Horman should arrest Gavin Newsom, the governor of the state of California.
Right.
If you heard, though, Tom Horman says, "Oh, I'm not taking the bait." He's not going to go after Gavin Newsom, because here's the deal: they got ICE,
Yeah.
but Gavin Newsom is protected by the state police.
Right.
So what's going to happen there?
They can't do
The state
shit.
police going to let them grab him? They're going to do nothing. And
No,
Tom
fuck
Horman's at least smart enough to know better. Donald Trump's not. He's going to press Tom Horman to go arrest him. I hope the fuck he does. Let's see what the state police do in that situation.
They'll end up in handcuffs.
Yeah, they will.
I really.
And they will know who the hell they are.
That would be huge. I mean, that would be. He needs that right there shoved in his face. That he's not the dictator that he thinks he is. He's trying to get there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, somebody just posted something. They said the president is supposed to do anything he can to protect the people of this country. Well, he doesn't have the power to do anything he wants, and he's doing the opposite of protecting this country. He's harming people. He's harming communities. He's disrespecting the military. The bottom line is some people think that he can do whatever he wants. And that's never been the case for any presidential candidate or president.
And basically, this is what cowards do. This is a coward. He's a coward. Bottom line.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is what bullies do. They make a threat, and if that doesn't work, they double down and make a bigger threat. If that doesn't work, they double down or triple down and make another threat. They don't have any other strategy than making threats. They don't want to engage. The funny thing about Donald Trump is he's a coward. He says all these things about Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom brought this out. He says all these things, these incendiary things about Gavin Newsom, but when he gets him on the phone, he's a meek, mild little pussy-ass bitch.
Yeah. Before I get off, though, let me ask you something, because I've been thinking about just to change it up for a second, the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Let's just look at this just for a second. If the Democrats had the files first, and let's just say there's somebody on there from both sides, I can't see. It's almost they may have something against each other on all of it, and
right.
I can't see the Biden administration just leaving them, on the desk, and I guess he can do whatever he wants with them without having some type of record of knowing what was in there. And
yeah,
I really think, honestly, if you go back and look, Donald Trump's never had a friend in his life, except when
Jeffrey Epstein
came along, and boy, did they have a bond for I'm talking 12 years. And so they threw parties for each other. I mean, everything. So I'm just wondering, honestly, in my opinion, if they somehow could magically float over to the news station and they open them up and there is everything, that would be the end of it, because it would be so disgraceful. That's my opinion.
No, I agree. If it didn't get public opinion against him, it would destroy him personally, because he wouldn't be able to handle the embarrassment.
Right, and that would be the one thing I think where these people that even JD Vance, like you would have to separate yourself from it. There's no way. That would be the one thing. If there's like video, you know, from what I think could possibly still be in there.
Yeah.
But you know, and you know, I know the bottom line is how the hell do we ever get them open or see what's in there? So I just
Yeah, well, I hope at some point we'll be able to, but as long as the Republicans are in control, it will never happen, unfortunately. Coach Mox, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to pull up one more person, and this will be the last person, if not by by me making it the last person, or by him making it the last person.
Oh, it's going to be British John. I know who it's going to be.
Yeah. Okay, we're pulling up British John. I've gotten one warning on one person coming in already, so tread lightly. What's up, British John?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm actually here in Washington, D.C. I am in the belly of the proverbial beast.
Wow.
In-
What's going on?
they haven't asked me to take over. Obviously, that would have made too much sense. Make America Great Britain
Yeah.
again. I was a big fan of that idea. Um,
Yeah, that's at this point I'd be for it.
yeah, it couldn't be any worse. I think we've reached that point. But no, I've actually been shooting TikToks and nothing else. I want to be clear about that. Outside the White House for the
Wow.
for the last hour or so. So there's a
Oh,
there's a playlist of those that's just started. It just uploaded the first one. So if you want a satirical take on the end of American imperialism, then it starts tonight. But no, I feel bad that I'm not in my home of California right now, as the Marines come in, because LA's needed a lot of redevelopment, and who better
Yeah.
to?
Yeah.
It's cheap. It's cheaper than. I mean, you know, lot less bureaucracy. You don't need a permit with a Marine, just a sapper.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know,
How long are you going to be? How long are you going to be in DC for?
just a couple of days.
Oh, so you're going to miss a parade?
You know what? I mean, I have tickets to it. I do have
Really?
2 tickets to the parade, and I'm so sorry I won't be able to be there like so many other people, apparently. But I do have 2 tickets. But no, I'm just here. I'm actually speaking at
Oh
an
yeah.
Amazon event. Um,
Well, you should put them up on Telegram. You probably sell them for a grand a piece to
Well,
some idiot.
I was just gonna say he should just throw them away or something, and that'd be 2 empty seats.
well, you know what, JD? I think that was my plan, my friend. I think that was entirely my plan.
Good
Um,
thinking.
and as I understand it, quite a few people also had that idea.
Good.
And can I just say thank you so much to the remnants of the singular part of AT&T company for making it so easy to get burner SIM numbers to do those registration processes. I'm not telling anybody
Yeah.
anything they shouldn't know, but you can't get short code SMSs on Google Voice, so you need to use something else, people.
Yeah. Well, you know, either don't show up or go wearing a chicken suit, and that will send the message. And I've heard Donald Trump's worried about that people are going to show up in chicken suits. That's probably why he's in LA right now, trying to distract the attention. But we can't forget that Wall Street thinks he's a chicken, the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. He's trying to distract from all that, but we got to keep reminding people, this is who this dumb fuck is.
Wait, hold on. I've been traveling all day. Trump's in LA right now?
No, Trump's not in LA.
Oh,
The Marines and
the Marines.
the
I was hoping he was boots on the ground because, as everyone knows, we have the best tacos in LA.
that's true.
That's
true.
Mm.
not
And-
to be
and-
confused with. Oh, sorry.
And I bet Ron DeSantis would be more than willing to borrow those pretty wet white boots because that would look good on Donnie. I got to admit.
Do they do them in a child size? I don't know.
No, but if he's got a catheter, it'll be much more to fill up.
Yes. That is. I'm leaving that one alone.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably wise.
when two pricks meet. Anyway,
Uh,
but anyway, I digress. Sorry.
go
Couldn't help
ahead,
it.
John.
It's a disease.
I'm throwing off your timing. I'm sorry. I'll
No,
shut up
no,
for a minute.
it's fine. I wasn't going to do it, but then I was like, no, can't help it. Um, no, it's. Let me just say, it was so nice. It's just after midnight here. I was outside the White House at 11 o'clock at night. People are taking their photos, and I met a lovely couple from Idaho. They're here with their 15-year-old daughter. She's here for the celebration of American history competition. She came second,
Oh,
and
wow.
what a wonderful, like, they are so invested in their child's education, and like this is mom and dad's. They've never been to DC before. They wanted to make a family trip. They're not Trumpians. They're actual Americans. They were here because they were so proud of their daughter and they wanted her to have this chance to shine. And I'm sorry, but buying your kid new camo gear is not the same thing as investing in them.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
and
Uh,
and it was just
you know,
so
I mean, we get away from that. There are some good people in this country, good families, good parents, good kids. There's a lot of them out there, and they just get overshadowed by these dregs of society that seem to be every place.
TJ, you were going to say something?
No.
I
Good,
might
because
have
it
something
probably
to
wouldn't have
say.
been made sense. I mean, we've all learned that. Um,
Yeah.
no, it was they didn't realize. I mean, they didn't realize I'm a stand-up comedian, and so they were just like, Are you from England? And what does the world think of all this?" And I had to tell them the truth, like, I do live here. There was a person wearing a MAGA hat close by, so I did do my joke about, I have an American wife and an anchor baby, just loud enough to
Yeah. Yeah.
to get his attention, um, just to watch him start frothing. Um, I hope it was frothing. He was very close to his idol, so maybe something else. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
uh, Golden Jesus, and yeah, just lovely people enjoying the evening in DC. But
Well,
yeah,
so you're headed back to LA. How far are you from? I mean, that's the one thing, and we were talking about earlier, and you would know better because you live there. The amount of area that's involved in this alleged
yeah.
riot, which it's not, it's a
Let,
protest. It's a very small area, right? I mean, it's like a few
so
blocks.
so first of all, full disclosure, I live in Northern California, but there's one word that keeps being missed from all of this. This isn't LA, it's LA County. Now,
Okay.
for context, if you ever drive from Austin to Houston, from the time you hit the Houston city limits until you get to a traffic light within the downtown area is 60 minutes with no
Right.
traffic. LA County is huge. And what we are talking about is one federal building and one Home Depot,
Right.
in a small town called Paramount.
Right.
Um, which, this is not happening in downtown LA. Okay, the Avengers are not going to be affected by this.
That's
Um,
good.
it is
They're in New
it
York,
is
so I
yeah.
would think not.
Wait, what superheroes did we get in LA? We must have one. What was Will Smith was an LA hero, but I can't remember the name now. Uh, it was named after one of the guys that signed the Declaration of Independence. What do
Hancock.
you Hancock? Yeah, there you go, Hancock. Hancock's not going to be affected. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's. I mean, this is nothing compared. I mean, I'm trying to think what else would you get. I mean, this is nothing compared to a Jan 6. I mean, this was. I mean, this has
Well,
got
they even
like
try to
three
compare it.
tourists.
They try to compare it to the '92 LA riots. It's not the same thing at all.
Oh
It's
my
not even
lord,
close.
no, absolutely not. And by the way, don't fuck with the Koreans. I think that was the takeaway from that. Even when they did send the feds in there, they were like, "Please, can we come in and take control of this situation?" Because the Koreans were actually doing a damn good job of holding on to their own. Now, um, this is a situation that's being caused for. We haven't even talked about the thing. apparently we've run out of the illegals now, the criminals, the bad hombres. Now we're going for the people with lunch pails and who cash a check on a Friday. Apparently, those are
Right.
that's who we're going for now. So, um, all my landscape is putting his rates up by 50% because he knows I don't have choices anymore. Um, yeah, but yeah,
Well,
it's
now they were talking. Somebody was saying, I don't even know if this is true. It's not even really close to the area. Somebody said that they were thinking about pushing into Compton. That seems problematic to me. They might be running into a different crowd of folks in Compton.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
oh
think?
my lord,
Well, that's what
wow.
it goes back to what I said earlier. The local gangs are going to unite against them.
That would be
Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah. Just boys and girls. This is where NWA came from.
Yeah.
They they're ready for this right now. Let's be honest. If you know, yeah. Oh, I'd watch that. Can we get the guy that films NCIS to do the video work on this? I don't want them to miss anything. This needs Bruckenheimer. We need helicopter shots. We need because you know the explosions will be there.
Yeah.
And
No kidding.
they've been rehearsing their lines for years. Yeah, they're ready for this. This will be.
Right.
Mhm. This
That's
someone actually
you,
someone as I said it someone is yes, this will be just like the San Antonio game on consoles. This will be real life GTA.
now. Now the interesting thing is, some people have said this LA thing was a test to go into future other cities, and that may be true, but they've got one problem. And I'm curious as to how they're going to deal with this problem. You remember in a hearing that they had recently, when that brilliant Christy Nome was being questioned, and her Botox didn't allow her to have any expressions, but she did try to answer some questions. But this representative pointed out that you haven't turned over anything in terms of a budget or anything. You're running out of money at the end of June. So what
Mm.
happens June 30th? They're out of money, but they still want to attack a bunch of different cities. Where do they get the money to fucking do that?
Well, let's you know if regardless of what side you come down on this, I think one lesson which people forgot is that the GOP. I'm not talking about MAGA. I'm talking about the GOP. Governing is hard.
Yeah,
Like
it's hard.
it's not the same as tweeting. It's hard.
Who
And
knew?
yeah, who knew that running a country of creating a budget for
What?
330 million people might take more than a fan packet? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, let me just translate that into American. A post-it note.
right,
Um,
right.
that fag packet is something
Ouch.
very different. Lindsey Graham's got a couple of them. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, but isn't that right, honey? Every motel in DC comes with a Lindsey Graham as standard. Um, but get back in the restroom. I'll be with you in a minute. But no, it's a they just don't realize how hard it is, and they're so fractured between you know the different caucuses, if you can call them that. You know the QAnon caucus, the whatever the hand job caucus from Miss Boebert, wonderful woman, and these people are not able to step out of their moment to actually look at you know certain things will not go voted through and as a Californian just let me say I am absolutely for this budget failing because if this budget fails that means that the SALT deduction goes back to 100% baby. Daddy's making
I like
money.
that.
I want
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Okay. And by the way, if anyone wants to work out how much money I earn, my tipping point is $43,620. I worked it out. So if they could just raise it to that amount of money, you now know how much money I paid in state taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I digress.
Well, anyway, I'm going to wrap
Wait,
things up. You're always the last one
wait, wait,
on
wait.
the show for obviously. Yeah, go ahead.
I have one last parting shot. I wanted to make sure British John could catch it. So you know, old Donnie is a 34-time convicted felon, right? Well, he'd be that a lot more times over if people knew the truth, because what he does every morning is a felony. A, a grown man holding a little boy's dick.
Ah, wow. Well, now we're getting. Hey, British John, you do some charity work, don't you?
I do.
Maybe you can hook. Jay's in California. Maybe you can work on him with some charitable work and teach him a little comedy. That might be helpful too. It would fucking help me. It would help me. I got to say.
Good night, everybody. I'm done.
It would help me.
Yeah,
All
Jay,
right.
we're gonna Jay. We run a. Whereabouts in California are you based, Jay?
I am in Sonoma County, so I'm north of San Francisco.
Jay, I know where Sonoma is. Okay, I know where all the good wine is. Don't worry, I've got you. So Jay, I'm going to invite you to a roast battle class at Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento. Okay, every other Wednesday. So I've hit you. Send me a follow, and we'll work on that material. Okay, this we can make you better.
My schedule's a little packed because I do actually have summer classes I'm taking, but yeah, it sounds interesting.
Wow, an American getting an education, that is a joke in itself.
Yeah, it absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank all of you. Thanks all of you for joining the live, and everybody else that joined and is no longer with us. Those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.